right, guys, I want to jump on here a little bit today because there's a bunch of confusion going around. I keep getting emailed and private messaged and different things about the calendar that we're putting out. So I'm just closing out of a few things here because I want to basically just show you three sites, okay? Awaken to Torah is not in the land. We are not an Israeli-based ministry. We are a United States-based ministry out of Stillwell, Oklahoma. So with that said, we have to rely, or we take the stance that the new moon has to be sighted in Israel first. So if it's sighted here and it wasn't sighted there, then we don't call it unless it's the 30th day. If it's the 30th day, then we have to call it because there can't be 31 days, okay? But if it's the 29th day and Israel didn't see it, we don't call it, okay? So we always want everything to be preceded by those that are in the land. That's the goal, is to get back to the land and start celebrating the feast the proper way. So with that said, especially this time of year when we're looking for the land to become Abib and starting to sight that next new moon, there's always this contention around because some people go off of this calendar and some people go off of that calendar, and this year is one of those years where it is absolutely crazy bonkers, okay? So I'm just telling you what Awaken to Torah's stance is, okay? Tonight at sunset, we will write up a statement, put it on the website, that type of thing, stating that we believe it to be a new year. I'm going to show you why we believe that to be so. I said that I was going to pull in multiple witnesses to expose Deborah's date tree this year, because this is not the first time that she has called something different when it's clearly Abib, okay? There's an agenda behind it. I don't want to make accusations. I just want to say that people who know her personally in the land have made the statement that they saw her in her inspection team pass by fields that were totally brown and not inspect them, and went to fields that she knew was still green. Okay, so let's look at that aspect first. Number one, the barley, Exodus chapter 9. I'm not going to do a bunch of scripture. I mean, you go there and read it for yourself. Exodus chapter 9, verses 22 through 32. Okay, the barley and the flax were beaten down because the wheat had not grown yet. Okay, if we waited an additional 45 days for the next moon to be sighted, and 15 days after that, if we wait an additional 45 days, the wheat will be grown. Okay, so if that were the case, the wheat, the barley, the barley would have already been out of the field. The wheat and the other crops would have been beaten down by the hail. Okay, so that's one of the requirements. That's when Yahweh said in chapter 12 of Exodus, "This shall be the beginning of months unto you, the head of the year." He was specifically referring to that month, the month of the Abib. We know that to be true because of Deuteronomy chapter 16, where he says, "It was in the month of the Abib that I brought you out of Egypt by night." Okay, so that's beyond question. So now we need to understand what Abib is. Now everybody's throwing in all this garbage about, well, there has to be this much and there has to be that much before we sight the new moon. That is nowhere in Scripture. That is man's made up stuff. What Scripture says is it has to be green and in the year. The barley in the land, the majority of it that we've been seeing pictures of, which I'm going to show you pictures of, is brown. It's not even green and in the air. It is brown, ready to be harvested, and in some places is actually being harvested right now. Okay, so I'm just making the statement as far as Awaken to Torah ministry go. This is not the first time, and I suspect it won't be the last time that Deborah's date tree, which a lot of people go by because of Nehemiah Gordon back in the day, who also, while they had harvesters in the field harvesting grain, said that it wasn't Abib. So a lot of Messianics quit listening to him back then. The same is true this year with Deborah's date tree. They are harvesters in the field harvesting the barley, and she's just saying that the land is not Abib. Okay, we're going to take a look at that. We're going to take a look at what she stated, where she actually contradicts herself in her own statement. And then we're going to take a look at a couple of others who went into the fields with video, pictures, all of that type of stuff, who are showing you the actual places in Israel, not just one little section that hasn't completely become mature. Now, that's with any crop. You can find sections that is not as mature as the others. And there's an agenda behind them not declaring it a new moon. You can sort that out for yourself, okay? That's all I'm going to say. Do some research that yourself. I'm just telling you there's an agenda. So let's jump over here to the Samsung monitor so we can actually look at this for a second. Okay, so this is renewed moon. Okay, so renewed moon, they go by the same three that we normally go by as well. Let me pull me off the screen there. Okay, so the same three that we go by: Abibof God, Deborah's date tree, and Rivkah Bitterman. Now, anybody who's been around this for a while knows that there is some contention here. Okay, but most of the time they agree. The problem is I have never seen Nehemiah Gordon or Deborah Gordon go against the Hillel 2 calendar, even when the land is clearly Abib. You can go back and research it for yourself. When everybody else is saying, no, the land is Abib, or the land is not Abib, they will side with the Hillel 2 calendar. Always have. I personally don't know of one time that they have stated differently. Okay, so you have to understand that. So there is an agenda behind them declaring or not declaring the land Abib. And every time it is Abib, they make excuses. Well, there's not enough of it Abib. Okay, even though there's substantial proof that there's plenty enough of it Abib. Okay, this is what's been going on for years. So I hate to be the one doing this, but I have to say honestly what is going on, because so many people are following Deborah's date tree, and we have used her as a resource in the past as well, because we're not in the land. I don't believe we will from this point forward. Okay, if you look at Rivkah Bitterman's video, let's just go there real quick. So right here, she is in a field in Israel 3 days ago. You can see it's already turning brown. It's not green and in the ear, it's brown. Okay, but just listen to what she has to say.
But we're just showing that no longer is the earth that vibrant color that we have in the growing season, and that this area of Israel had reached the maturing season in its life cycle, and was very quickly putting on meat or starch within the grains themselves.
All right, so I'm going to stop right there. She's clearly going out inspecting numerous fields in that area of Israel, 50% of Abib, which in 15 days, if you know anything about barley, in 14 days, be way more than enough. But it's not even 14 days this year. It's like almost 21 days until first fruits, and that's when it has to be completely Abib, so they can bring the omer of grain. Okay, which the omer of grain is not even a requirement right now, because we're not in the land. There is no priesthood to wave it. There is no priesthood to do the sacrifice. All of those requirements have to be met. Okay, what we are looking for is what Yahweh told us to look for when it is green and in the ear. Okay, so clearly the land is green and in the ear. I'm going to jump over here to Abib of God. Okay, so these pictures was taken today. If you look, March 11th. Okay, this is the pictures that were taken in the land today. We have flowers being put on. We have trees in full bloom right here. We have olive trees budding. We have fig trees budding. This is all in the land. Just pictures taken today. The fields are turning brown, not green. They're clearly ready to be harvested. Okay, but yet Deborah's date tree is saying no, they're not ready. Okay, it's an excuse, because when you go to her own page right here, let's see more. She actually declares down here, this field's not Aviv, didn't have any seed yet. Okay, but here we happened upon a patch of very stressed barley, but the rest of our sampling had empty seed. So she's saying she did find some that was Aviv here, and this is 2 days ago. Okay, and then field 3, she said it had just finished flowering. If it's finished flowering, then it's going to put on seeds in the next 20 days. Now, I mean, she's just making up excuses. Okay, so field 4, the Aviv, not Aviv, she's saying. But then down here in the Jordan Valley, she's saying field 5 is Aviv. So, and all of these fields are at the stage right now that they are green and in the ear and are putting on heads. In the next 20 days, they will clearly be full of seed, ready to be harvested, even the fields that are behind. So I state again, if you wait until the following month, that's an additional 45 days, the barley would have been completely harvested, the wheat would have grown, and it would be nearing the mature stage at this point. So it's clearly not the month that Yahweh was speaking of when he said this month, the month of the Aviv, when the barley and the flax had grown. Okay, that word gibol, abib, both of those words are used there. Gibol just means it has a bud. Okay, so if it's green and it's putting on a bud, it clearly meets the standard. If it's abib, again, it's green and in the ear, so it's clearly meeting the standard. We can go back and look at the pictures. Okay, all of these pictures, this is from today. All of these pictures are. I mean, look at these fields, the entire fields. Okay, I'm going to go down here because I want to show you. This is fig trees already budding. Yeshua told us learn the parable of the fig tree. When the fig tree puts forth its leaves, you know that summer is nigh. So was he mistaken? Okay, I'm going to jump down here a little bit further. Here's the birds. All the birds are flying back. The great white pelicans, all of them are doing their spring migration. They're already all back in the land. Here are them harvesting. I mean, look at these fields. Birds back in the land, harvesting again. There are so many witnesses, so much evidence stating that Deborah's date tree is absolutely wrong this year. But she is contributing to the confusion of dividing us on a calendar. Okay, for those of us in the United States and other places around the world that are having to rely on our brothers and sisters in the land to mark these things for us, if we believe that we have to rely on them. Some people, they don't rely on them at all. They've just, because of the confusion, they just wait until it's a beat where they live now. And I don't believe they're wrong in doing that. We have just made the choice that we will wait for the land to celebrate. Okay. So with that said, Exodus chapter 9, Exodus chapter 12, Deuteronomy 16, the requirements for calling it a new year. As of tonight, when we sight the new moon around 6:45 this evening, it was 3.4% in Israel today. Even Deborah's date tree claims that we sighted the new moon in Israel today. So we're clearly going to see it in the United States. So as of 6:45 this evening, when we sight the new moon here in Oklahoma, Awaken to Torah will make the statement that we have entered into the new year, and that 14 days later we will celebrate Pesach. Okay, I don't know why Deborah has chosen to do this year. She did it once before. I thought that she had learned her lesson at that point, but evidently there's still some discrepancy there. For those who are saying, well, we need an omer of grain, I promise you, at if the grain is at the stage it is right now, in 20 days, there is going to be enough omers of grain in every field to bring before for first fruits. That's when there has to be an omer of grain's worth to present before the Father. Not to say that the land is Abib. Okay, in 20 days, you'll clearly produce enough grain to wave an omer before the Father. Okay, that you could take to the priest and he would wave it before the Father before you. Okay, so I hate to be this guy, but somebody has to do it. Somebody has to call these things out. If we don't start calling them out, then we're never going to be able to be on the same page. I say all the time that I'll be glad when we are all in the land and the Levitical priesthood is established and they're making the declaration from the temple, because when they do, there will be no more confusion. Okay, but this year, I believe that Deborah's date tree, Deborah Gordon, has ulterior motives in claiming that the land is not Abib. Okay, and I have to make that statement. I make it publicly. I don't want people to say that I said something behind somebody's back, so I make it publicly for all to hear. The land is Abib. We will sight the new moon tonight, as Scripture declares, and we will call it a new year. Now, with that said, if Deborah would just say, hey, I just want to be on the rabbinic calendar. My family's on the rabbinic calendar. I want to celebrate it when they celebrate it. That would be great. Because I'm going to tell you, next month, April 22nd, I'm going to be celebrating Pesach again with all my brothers and sisters. Okay? I'm going to, because being Jewish, I need to do that. Okay? And I would have no problem with Deborah if she took that stance. That's not what's happening here, though. She is being deceptive in her findings. But I make the point again that she, and even if she had 100 people out there with her, she is one witness. We have multiple other witnesses declaring something different. So the same way we would declare a new moon by the sounding of the shofar, if we had multiple witnesses present themselves to Jerusalem and say, we sighted the new moon, then it wouldn't matter how many people said they didn't. Okay, if there were multiple witnesses that said they did, the priest would go ahead and declare that a new moon. The same is true with the Abib. Okay, we have multiple witnesses all over the land declaring that the land is Abib and saying that they had sighted the new moon tonight. So let's not argue with our brothers and sisters, but let's put this out so they'll begin to think this year. Those that are have made up their mind and they're going to go with Deborah already, they've already dug their heels in. Okay, great. We're going to love them where they're at. We're going to come alongside them when they do celebrate the feast, and we're going to celebrate with them. Okay. But we have to expose falsehood when it's there. And this is an absolute falsehood. The same way it was when Nehemiah and them did it 12 or 13 years ago. It's an absolute falsehood. There are clearly, let me pull up my pictures here, because I want you to see these pictures, and they will solidify. These were taken, I think, 3 days ago. So let me jump back over there. There we go. They're harvesting the barley in the land right now. I can't cover this up. I can't just say, well, it's all right. We can't. We've got to start exposing this stuff, because it's this stuff that continues to contribute to the confusion in the faith that's making people argue with each other. It's dividing whole congregations. It's separating families even. I mean, I know numerous families who have separated over these calendar issues. So anytime that we can eliminate any confusion, I think that it is our duty to do so. Okay. Now, with that said, I don't think it's everybody's job. I don't think everybody needs to be fighting with each other. That's why I'm the head of this ministry, so I'm going to make that statement. Okay. If I take the flack from it, you don't have to. Okay. That's the thing. I will take all the heat. But you shouldn't be arguing with your brothers and your sisters. You should be loving on each other. In fact, I have some brothers and sisters that are part of my community, my personal community, who don't believe that the land has met the requirements because of Deborah's reporting. I am going to celebrate Pesach with them as well, because I believe that they are doing what they believe to be right to the best of their ability. Let me get me back on the screen here. I really do believe that they're doing what they believe to be right to the best of their knowledge, to the best of their ability. So when they do celebrate the feast, I will be right there rejoicing with them. Okay. It's the loving your brother is more important than anything else. Okay. And numerous people have gone to Deborah over this, that I know personally, and she refuses to relent, even when she has been shown empirical evidence numerous times. We just have to call things as though they are. Okay. Late October this year, the fruit harvest will have been in almost a month. It will. There's no way it can stay on the trees that long. Okay, so when you're going to Sukkot, all of that would have taken place almost a month prior. 3 times a year, you and all your males will present yourself to Jerusalem. So at the spring feast, at the wheat harvest, at the fruit harvest. Okay, so we have to do what Yahweh said, not what any man says. And when we're relying on one person over multiple witnesses, we're asking for trouble. Okay. And I would say that about myself. If you're relying only on James's word, then you're asking for trouble. Okay. We have to present multiple witnesses to these things so we can declare the things that we believe to be true. So my statement is, if her organization is going to continue to side with the Hillel 2 calendar and rabbinic Judaism, then let's just say that that's what it is. Okay, we can't keep saying that she cites the new moon and keeps the feast according to the barley harvest. We can't say that, because clearly this is at least twice that we know she hasn't. It's something that needs to be exposed, and I said I would, so there's my statement, and that's where I'm going to leave it. Okay, but go check out Abibof God for yourself. Let me go back to that screen. Abibof God, you can find them on Facebook. It's just type in abibofgod.com, or you can go to their actual website, abibofgod.com. Then you can type in Rivkah's video as well. I think the video is 9 minutes long, where she goes through picking out 10 handfuls all the way through the crop, measures it out to make sure that there's enough of omer for an omer of grain, picks 10 handfuls, shows clearly that there's enough for an omer of grain, but yet Deborah still claims that their witnesses are no good, that only her witnesses should stand. So that's why I felt compelled to come on here and make that statement to let you know that there is other information out there. And whatever choice you make, whatever feast you personally decide to keep, we want to support you. As long as you're doing what you believe that Yahweh is telling you to do, I am not going to stand in opposition to that in any way. But we have to put all of the information out there, or we'll all be deceived. All right. Shalom. Geg Samek Rosh Hashanah. Welcome to the new year. We'll see you at Pesach.